everyone, I'm here with Mr. Fernandez, my guidance counselor, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the admissions process. Alright, so hi, how are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm doing great.
Good, cool.
Exactly. So, first thing is just a little intro about yourself, right? Your name and why you got into this job, you know,
Sure.
and any fun facts.
I got plenty of fun facts. So my name is Rich Fernandez. I am the school counselor here, like Advait said. This is my 8th year, even though I like to call it my seasons. So this is season 8 for me. But I've been in education for about 10 years now. It's been a whole decade of fun. Why did I get into this field? Kind of goes back to when I was in high school. My guidance counselor didn't really exist in a way. I think I met him once, and I was making my freshman year schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of cool because my high school let us make our own schedule and create, pick our classes. So I didn't see him at all. So even like when I had issues and I had like stress and anxiety, like I just didn't know where to go. So I always thought that getting into education would be a very rewarding, self-rewarding, fulfilling career. Yeah. And I like to, how about you guys? How about the youth? Do the exact opposite of what my guidance counselor did. So definitely been a rewarding 8 years here. Mm-hmm. And there's plenty more good memories obviously to make. And as far as fun facts, I don't know, I'm not that much of a fun guy. I have a French bulldog. He's 10 and a half years old, named Mr. French. Mm-hmm. He's like a little blimp. He's like 44 pounds. So I spent a lot of time with him. And then I love listening to music. I know that the Spotify Wrap just came out, so I don't know if anybody's been checking their Spotify Wrap, but I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I had total listening minutes of 122,000 minutes listened. So I just always have music on. It's a really good outlet to go, whether you're happy, sad, whatever it is. There's always music will be there. So those are my 2 fun facts for you.
All right, that's great. Yeah, my Spotify Wrap are like 50,000, I think.
All right, so you're almost there.
Yeah, almost there.
Yeah, we gotta pump them up.
Yep.
Next year.
All right, so on the topic of magnet schools, right? There's a huge popularity increase in the past 5 to 10 years. So why do you think this is happening?
I definitely believe with the improvement of technology, right? Like we kind of have the world at our fingertips, like with your generation at least. Everything is now turning into be hands-on, and with new careers coming and just going into certain trades, I feel like those are definitely more rewarding. And especially now with traditional high schools and even with VOTEC programs, a lot of stuff is now more hands-on. You're solving real world problems, and you're networking and learning all those soft skills. So I feel like it's obviously it was inevitable for all this stuff to become more popular. Yeah. Excuse me, but that whole lecture, sitting in a classroom, that's gone. That's like the old way. So for you guys, at least being in high school now, I think it's a great time. Like I said, like you have so many good resources at your fingertips. Learning a trade obviously definitely is super helpful and fulfilling, I feel like, in college and beyond. So it's just a matter of time until this whole mindset just exploded. But you definitely, I think you guys are all heading in the right path. Just listen to your guidance counselor and your teachers as well, and your parents.
Yeah. So another follow-up, right, based off that. Do you think that the admissions criteria might change due to this popularity?
As far as like our high school here?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been the same criteria we've been looked off or basing off of the last, since the last 8 years. We're looking at obviously your grades. We want to make sure that you're going to do well and be successful here. But we also look at our entrance exam. That's really going to give us a good opportunity and insight into will you be successful here? Because you're going to have, as far as our school, because we do engineering and STEM, you're going to have math and science all 4 years. So you have to have some sort of interest in those. And engineering as well. We're not asking you to have, know everything about engineering, but at least taking stuff apart, dealing with coding and Python and all that stuff. Like you definitely should have some sort of engineering, experience or interest in that. But yeah, we're looking at your 7th grade final grades, 8th grade first record period grades, the entrance exam results, and then those that qualify for the interview phase, which is after the entrance exam. We will look at letters of recommendation.
Yeah. So, like you said, that was like an overview of like the whole application, right? I'm assuming the admissions exam might have more weightage, perhaps. Yeah,
I mean everything kind of like we're trying to treat this as like a very holistic approach, like college apps as well. But again, like the entrance exam results, I would say are weighted a little heavier than the grades. Because that's really what's going to give us, again, a good insight of will you be able to be successful and at least, make it here for the 4 years. We don't want to set anybody up for failure. Again, there's always good resources out there. Even if you're struggling or if you need help with anything, there's always, olive branches that are extended. But you got to know where to look. But again, if they didn't do super well on the entrance exam, then this place might not be a good fit for them, right?
So I know that there's other magnet schools as well, right? Based on the type of field, right? So is this specifically for Edison? I know it's more specified towards engineering, right? Could you talk just a little bit about like other specifications possibly?
For like other schools in the
Yeah.
district? It's cool because as well, like again, all these trade programs, you're really kind of getting in early, so you really gotta know what you want to do. And for those that don't know what they want to do yet, it's okay. You got plenty of time. But for those that they know that want to go into a trade, like it's definitely super helpful.
Exactly.
So obviously with the 4 other high schools in our district, we have our Woodbridge Academy, which is allied health and biomedical sciences. So they want to be nurses or anything in the medical field.
Yeah.
And then our East Brunswick and Piscataway and Perth Amboy schools. There's culinary arts. There's HVAC. There's performing arts. There's dancing. So there's something for everybody. But again, you got to at least know what path you want to take.
Yeah.
But it takes time too. But again, for those that know what they want to do early, it definitely will be helpful for them. But here, yes, we have engineering, obviously, we have civil, mechanical, and electrical computer engineering.
So, on the topic of like the other magnet schools, right, and their specialties, let's say you come to magnet school, but you're not determined exactly where you want to go. Is there some value that you can still gain from a magnet school in comparison to a public school?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll use our school as an example. So we have 2 majors here for engineering.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean you have to major in engineering. So we always have students that go off and major in computer science, business and finance.
Yeah.
It's all about utilizing those resources. But for those students that come here and already know they don't want to major in engineering, they're coming here more for the quality education, taking honors classes, taking AP classes, taking the AP exams, and just networking and using those resources, those hands-on abilities, solving real-world problems. Some students just come for that. But I would definitely spend the time in doing your homework, checking the websites out, coming to open houses when the high schools have them.
Yeah.
So again, it would be good to know this is your career path. But for those that are uncertain and still want to try out for a magnet school, or at least just kind of pursue and go through the whole admissions process and whatnot, it's not a bad idea. I'm not saying all public schools are bad, but at least just for the trade schools, you're doing more hands-on stuff, and I feel like that definitely helps for the future.
Yeah, I feel like in mechanical itself, that hands-on approach I get is much more valuable, right? Because a lecture is not always going to get to my head.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I know from my experience in a public high school, right, there was a limit to the amount of AP classes I could take.
Correct.
That limit's still here, but it's a little bit higher, right? So because they understand that you're able to take that course load. So going back into our school specifically, right? Do you have any like rough estimates for the stats of, the percentage of students that get in?
To like Ivy League schools?
Yeah, to Ivy Leagues.
Or colleges in general. So please don't use our school as like a stepping stone. Like by getting into this school is not guaranteed that you're going to get into an Ivy. While our students do go off to some Ivy League schools, again, you really want to just take advantage of what goes on here. The good thing is a lot of the colleges in the area know what kind of students are coming out of this school. That you guys are focused, driven. You're going to do the work, and try to make a change in the environment and beyond. So it's not all about Ivy League schools, and I kind of stress that a lot when we talk about college admissions. But again, our students will go off to Ivy League schools, but it's all matters of how hard you're going to work.
Yeah.
I always say you guys are going to be successful based on how hard you guys work, and it's just embedded in your DNA. I feel like. When you come here, there's no not working. You have to work, right? I feel like a lot of middle school students that come here probably haven't done any work, and get straight A's. Here you have to do at least a little bit of work, right? So it's not going to be a guarantee into Ivies, but I'm always stressing, explore the programs because there's more to it that goes into just an Ivy League school, right?
Exactly. It's
going to be a good fit for you, so you got to make sure you're kind of researching everything.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people kind of take that misconception that Ivy's good everywhere, right? They don't look at the programs, and as a result, they miss out on opportunities they could have had at some other colleges that might not have been an Ivy.
I agree. You gotta look at the food. You gotta look at the clubs. What goes on the weekend? There's just so much more that goes into the whole process. But I totally agree.
So back to the biggest point that I think a lot of parents do stress about, which is the admissions exam. Is there any ways for students to prepare for it? Because I personally did Khan Academy, which did help a lot, especially in math and ELA. Do you have any recommendations?
I would definitely say, if Khan Academy worked for you, I would definitely stress, maybe check out some Khan Academy resources and some courses. But there is also sample questions on our website. If you go to our page under the admissions tab, FAQ page, there are sample questions there. But it's mainly stuff that you guys already should have learned in middle school. We're not trying to surprise anybody or put something on there where you haven't even learned before. So It's reading and writing, so you can read and answer questions, and there'll be an essay, open-ended essay. And then as far as the math, it should be already basic Algebra 1 content on there. Maybe some little bit geometry, but again, it should be stuff that you already learned, so it really shouldn't be like, oh my goodness, I didn't learn this. But
yeah. So the last and final question is, what characteristics do the admission committee look for specifically in students who are going to be admitted for the next year?
That is a great question. So when we do invite the top 120 in for an interview, we're just basically having a conversation, right? We want to get to know more about you. Do your goals and your visions align with what we do here, right? We want to make sure that you have that interest in math and science, because you're going to have it every all 4 years. But we also want to hear more about you. What are your likes? What do you do in the summer? How's your family? Again, we just want to make sure that you have some sort of personality, in a way. And again, we don't want anybody to come here and struggle, right? But again, if that would be the case, obviously there's a lot of good resources here. There's always someone willing to help, right? But again, someone, if you just hold it, just a casual conversation.
Yeah. All right. So, that concludes the interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me.
Appreciate it. For those that have any questions for me, at least, for either this admission cycle or next year, my email will be here. So please feel free to shoot me an email. My door is always open. And good luck to those of you that will be applying in the future.
All right. Thank you.